Well, then you picked the right day to come. I've been good. As a matter of fact, I'm good. Okay. life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Trying to figure out who I am, or who I'm supposed to be. About where I stand, so I can make the most of me. I'm coming back down from space, a million miles away. There's a lot of love in this place, and I'm just trying to say I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Been a long time living this way, worrying about what people say. Feeling like I don't fit in, but I won't give up, no I won't give in. Been looking for something more. What you really looking for? It's been with you as you were born. Since you were born, you know you're good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. You only live once. I'm good with myself. I'm there for my friends until the very end. You only live once. I'm good with myself. I'm there for my friends until the very end. I would see another love revolution. Find a way to be a better person. If we come together like we should, we could all be good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Living life just like I should. Wouldn't change it if I could. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good.
Good morning. It is a good morning, and we are good. You are good. And we are going to have a good and blessed time, because today and every day we have swung wide the doors to the presence of God, knowing that Spirit is in this place and in all places and all people. And just as this beautiful sun has awakened us to a new day, the Spirit of God within awakens us to divine glory. And this glory within and around us is everywhere we look and in every situation we encounter. With our hearts centered in Spirit, we can quiet our thoughts and meditate on the wonder of all of God's creation and our oneness with it. So I invite you now to take a deep breath, become comfortable, and gently release any cares of the day, because your sole purpose at this moment is to experience the divine. And you begin to do so now as you relax into this sacred time and space at Unity Spiritual Center. Seeing through eyes of oneness, acknowledging our oneness, we at Unity Spiritual Center celebrate and honor people of every culture, of every creed, of every religion, of every race, of every age, and every lifestyle, knowing that there are many paths to God, many faces of God, many names for God, but only one God. And that God is expressing through all people in unique, special, and individual ways. As you look at the flame of the candle that we light every Sunday, remember that you too have a divine flame within, that you are a divine spark. You are an individualized expression of God. We honor the one presence and power of God with Unity's foundation statement, which you'll find on the screen behind me. And I invite you in joining me in saying it aloud together. There is only one presence and one power, active as the universe and as my life, God the good, omnipotent. We give thanks for our spiritual community and for the beauty of our spiritual center. We give thanks that Unity Spiritual Center is a welcoming, warm, and inclusive community dedicated to studying and putting into practice empowering principles and tools for happiness, health, prosperity, and successful living. We give thanks that with our spiritual teachings, we can create extraordinary lives and a peaceful planet through our relationship with the loving God presence within each one of us and through our relationships with one another. Our vision and the opportunity for each one of us here is that you discover the power within you to create the life of your dreams, that you have peace of mind and deep happiness, that you enjoy joyous and loving relationships with yourself, with spirit, and with others, that you spend your days doing what you love and feel called to do, and most of all, that you know that your life matters, that you make a difference, and that the world is a better place because you're here. If you're joining us for the first time, and I know a couple of you are, we do have gifts that hopefully you received when you walked through the door. A chalet. Did you get a chalet? Kathy, if you can bring out 2 chalets, Friends of Shirley, as well as the information packets. What we like to give out, it's been a tradition now for many years, it's a chalet that has a tag on it that says, just as God has a design for every shell in the sea, God also has a design for your life. So we are thrilled that you are with us today. We pray that you will feel nourished by your time here today. And we are having a barbecue picnic today. So please do stay for that following the service where we can get a chance to get to know you better. And we don't have barbecues every Sunday, but we have pretty good spreads. So if nothing else, you'll want to check out one of our famous hospitality spreads. And if you or if anybody here has any questions about Unity or anything else on your mind that you'd like to talk about, please don't hesitate to contact me. And my contact information is printed on the back of pretty much every piece that you will find in the literature rack and in that information packet. So at this time, as we move into the meditative part of our service and prepare to raise our voices together in song, please do mute any electronic devices or your cell phones if you haven't done that already. And I will turn it over to Michael. I think this is a stander-upper, right?
I'm going to do both, I think.
Yeah?
I think we're going to do it once through real quiet and kind of ease into this. We've never done this before, so that's why we're doing it today for all the folks watching on YouTube. Cast of thousands. So this is the tune I released. So what we're going to do is we're going to sing it nice and quiet, and we'll sit in our seats. And then I'm going to rev it up, and we will stand up and sing it with all the might we have. And it sounds like this. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. And now this is where we stand up and sing it out. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Are you guys ready to rev it up? Here we go. 1, 2. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Free. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here. Find a new note for God. Happy Memorial Day.
That was great. Like we went from 0 to 60 or 60 to 60 to 30. That was good. All right. So as we continue to get comfortable in our seats and relax even more deeply into this time of worship, prayer, and meditation, let us open our hearts to receive the message of today's daily word, which will be read by Lakshmi Crawford.
Wholeness. I choose to live this day as a whole and complete experience. My mortal mind may be eager to focus on perceptions of lack, creating shadows across the energy of this day. Yet, what a gift it is to realize that this day is whole and complete, waiting for me to discover it and appreciate its unique energy. I'm one with the essence of love and abundance. That is my experience of the divine. Anything that may seem to be missing is merely an illusion born of my limited human perception. Today, I affirm wholeness in everyone and everything I encounter. Through my perception of wholeness, I feel and express the fullness of spirit, the spirit I truly am. I choose to live this day as a whole and complete experience. Psalm 118:24. This is the day that the Lord hath made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.
Thank you, Lakshmi. Unity Spiritual Center is a center of prayer and healing. And as most of you know, we have a community prayer box that's on the table in the back. And you are always invited to fill out a green prayer request form and place it in the box. And now, not knowing what's been written down, let's hold all of those prayers in the box in our hearts and any other unwritten prayers of our community in our hearts. And know for all of those people that divine love is enfolding them and that perfect divine order is taking place in their lives. Prayer requests that are placed in the box are prayed on by me and our USC prayer team for 30 days. And then we forward them to Unity's World Headquarters, where they're prayed on for an additional 30 days. And as I said, the prayer request forms are printed on green paper, and you're always invited to fill one out and place it in the box. But we have created a time in our service where we can make our prayers audible. And this is your time to offer your prayer needs to your spiritual family here so that we can support you and stand with you. So after we sing the introduction to this song, which Michael will lead us through, let's answer each prayer request by singing, "Your prayer is my prayer too."
We are connected by the heart. Where do you end? Where do I start? Whatever you feel, I feel too. You're a part of me, I'm a part of you. Your prayer is my prayer too. 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 Your prayer is my prayer too.
And we also have a part in our service where we share our gratitudes, things that we're thankful for, our Thanksgivings. We've heard a few of them already, but if there are more, please feel free to share them with your spiritual family here.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this piece of chicken that's sitting behind me that my wife has already put in a baggie because I have to go to Monterey as soon as we're done today. And I said, I have to miss the barbecue. So I'm very grateful for that piece of chicken that's right here. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
We give thanks for this opportunity to bless and to be blessed in spirit. We give thanks for the feelings of connection and peace and warmth that fill our hearts and minds right now. We give thanks for the privilege of praying for others in our community, in our nation, and around the world. And we affirm that no matter what appearances are, always and in all ways, divine love and divine order is everywhere present. At Unity Spiritual Center, your prayer is our prayer too. Amen.
The road is long, with many a winding turn that leads us to who knows where, who knows where. But I'm strong enough to carry him. He ain't heavy, my brother. So on we go. His welfare is my concern. No burden is he to bear. We'll get there. For I know he would not encumber me. He ain't heavy. He's my brother. And if I'm laden at all, I'm laden with sadness that everyone's heart isn't filled with the gladness of love for one another. It's a long, long road from which there is no return. While we're on our way to there, why not share? And the road doesn't weigh me down at all, for he ain't heavy. He's my brother.
Great song. Yeah, I know, verklempt. And now we can all date ourselves. Like, I remember having that on a 45. Who here remembers what a 45 is? Yeah, such a great song. The Hollies, awesome. So welcome, everybody, on this beautiful day. And of course, this is the day before Memorial Day. So I just want to start by doing what we do every year, and that is to really acknowledge people who paid the ultimate price for our country. So let's start with just a moment of silence for the people who lost their lives in service. And I'd like to ask anybody here who lost a loved one, anybody here who lost a loved one in military service, to please stand up so we can honor you. Yeah, and Ken, I know you did too. So let's just give a round of applause. Thank you for those who paid the ultimate price. And for anybody here who has served in the military or who does serve in the military, can you please stand now at this time so we can honor you? Thank you so much for your service to the... Sure, Mike, yeah. That's right. And why don't we just give Mike a round of applause. Serving our country for 3 different wars. That's something. And get Rosa, yes. Sounds good. Thank you, Rosa. And people may not have seen because Rosa was standing up in the back, but she has given our country service as well. So thank you to all of you and for the reminders of what we can do on Memorial Day to continue honoring people who've done that. And of course, it's a perfect time, it's a perfect holiday to be closing out our theme this month, which was on dedication. We have been looking at dedication, different forms of it, starting with Jerry kicking us off and talking about being dedicated to your spiritual lives. I've talked about different forms and different ways that we can be dedicated in our personal lives. And we're going to close out today by looking at dedication in our communities and in our world. Because that sometimes is where the rubber really meets the road, isn't it? Is when we serve something outside of ourselves. And as Mike was bringing up, you know, this country was founded on something very precious. And there were people who were so dedicated to this idea of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that they also died. And we sometimes don't think about about the early beginnings of our country. But I just wanted to read you a little something that I found that talked about the sacrifices that people made at the very time the country was being founded. Of the 56 men who signed the Declaration of Independence, 5 signers were captured by the British as traitors and tortured before they died. 12 had their homes ransacked and burned. 2 lost their sons serving in the Revolutionary Army. Another had 2 sons captured. 9 of the 56 fought and died from wounds or hardships of the Revolutionary War. They signed and they pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. What kind of men were they? And I'm ad-libbing here. These were not professional soldiers. 24 were lawyers and jurists. 11 were merchants. 9 were farmers and plantation owners, men of means, well-educated. But they signed the Declaration of Independence, knowing full well that the penalty would be death if they were captured. They were not wild-eyed, rabble-rousing ruffians. They were soft-spoken men of means and education. They had security, but they valued liberty more. Standing tall, straight, and unwavering, they pledged, for the support of this declaration, with firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Now that's dedication, isn't that? That's incredible. And, you know, most of us are extremely fortunate in that it is unlikely that we will have to risk our lives in service of a dedication that we hold, something we're dedicated to. Most of us are not on the front lines of anything, certainly not in a position where we risk losing our lives, our fortunes, our sacred honor. So that's what I wanted us to think about today, is this idea of dedication and how far we can go with it, as exemplified by people who have served in the military, our founding fathers. And I don't know about you, but I sure feel that we're at a time in our country where We need to dedicate our lives to something. That some of the basic freedoms that we have taken for granted are being challenged. They're being challenged. And if there was ever a time to be dedicated to something in our country, I think now is the time. We're being called to do that. So, thinking about where our country has been, and thinking about where we'd like our country to go, thinking about the future, I wanted to pose a question to you. Now, if you've been coming for a while, you've heard me say this quotation before because it's one of my favorite quotations. And the reason it's one of my favorite quotations is because it's pretty profound. And no matter how many times you've heard it, there's always new information to be gotten. And this is a quotation from the futurist Buckminster Fuller, who was very active in the 60s and 70s, no longer with us, but certainly was someone with big vision. And this is the question that he once posed. He said, if success or failure of this planet and of human beings depended on how I am and what I do, how would I be? What would I do? Now just think about that for 1 second. If it was up to you, it's up to you, the success of the planet, how might you be living your life differently? Because the truth is, we're all dedicated to something, right? And as I talked about a little bit last week, sometimes the things we're dedicated to aren't particularly constructive or creative. You know, watching The Housewives of New York, not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's probably not going to construct or create a future that we want to live into, right? So I think that when we look at the ultimate sacrifice that people have paid, you know, that they believe so strongly in something that they were willing to die for it, that this is a really good time just to take, you know, an inner pulse check and reflect on what is it that you are dedicated to? What is it that you are dedicated to? Now, we are lucky that we are in a Unity church and we have access to Unity teachings, because this has been a foundation of our Unity theology from the very beginning. The idea that if we hold something in mind, it can come to pass. That we have every accessibility to infinite power, to the power of the universe, to create whatever kind of world we want to see. And Charles Fillmore put it this way. He said, and Charles Fillmore, for those who are new, was one of our Unity co-founders. He said, the imagination has the ability and power to throw onto the screen of visibility, in other words, to make it happen in substance and life, any idea that the mind can conceive. Any idea. So when we think about what kind of world we want to live in, when we think about what sorts of issues we might want to be dedicated to, whether it's climate change or whether it's peace on earth or whether it's, you know, immigration rights or whatever it happens to be, women's rights, you know, Black Lives Matter rights. I mean, there's so much in this world that is just begging to be addressed. So when we think about what we might want to be dedicated to, know that if we believe it, if we believe it can happen, if we believe these things can be successfully addressed and changed, that it can happen. It can happen. We in Unity know that, and we in Unity have the tools to do that. Any idea can become visible with imagination and with dedication. Those things give everyone a hope and a future, like Scripture says. And those are all big, big areas. And sometimes we just need to stretch our muscles a little bit. Sometimes we just have to, start with the micro before we move to the macro. Sometimes we just need to develop our dedication muscles. So I just wanted to start this conversation this month so we can start thinking about how we want to do that in our spiritual lives, in our personal lives, and in our communities and our world. So I really do invite you tomorrow on Memorial Day to think about what is so important to you that you might be willing to die for it. That is a profound question. And it's a spiritual question. It's something that everyone should tap into. What is it that is so holy to you, so sacred, that you would be willing to give your life for it? So, before we leave, I want to point out that as we're looking at this area of communities and world, that we do have a community right here. We're all part of this community, the community of Unity Spiritual Center of San Francisco. And for those of you who've been tuning out when we read our mission statement every Sunday, let me repeat it for you, because we are dedicated to something. We at Unity Spiritual Center are dedicated to something. We're dedicated to healing, inspiring, and transforming the lives of all people through prayer, education, and love. We say it every Sunday. Healing, inspiring, transforming the lives of all people through prayer, education, and love. Now, that's a mighty thing to be dedicated to. It's got a number of components. Obviously, the prayer, education, and love, those things can work miracles. We all know that. But think about what else it says in that phrase that we repeat every Sunday. The lives of all people. The lives of all people. So we didn't just come up with the lives of the people who show up on a Sunday, the lives of people who are on our mailing list. We set ourselves a mighty goal, the lives of all people. So that could be another question that all of us as a community ask ourselves. How are we doing at transforming the lives of all people? And what are we, or I should say, how dedicated are we to doing that? Now, we're all here, and so I think what that means is that we're all interested in developing, the full potentiality of our Christ consciousness, right? We know that we can go as broad and as deep as we dedicate ourselves to going. But when little opportunities to practice come up, do we always take advantage of them? And just ask yourself this question, because I want to suggest that every day, and probably more than once a day, we are given opportunities to live out this dedication, to live out different forms of Christ consciousness, to show up as the face of God in somebody's life. So today we're having our barbecue. And if you walked up to the church, you notice there is a dedicated group of people who are putting that on for all of us. So I just want to suggest that as a way to build those muscles of dedication, let's start small. Maybe you can help somebody get a plate. Maybe you can help to clean up at the end of it. Maybe you can give somebody a ride home. There are many, many opportunities all the time that are asking for our dedication to others. So let's take a stand. Let's decide to be an instrument of integrity. Let's decide to be dedicated to the well-being of ourselves and all those around us and all those who are in the world, because as Unity teaches, we are all one. Let's make this that day, because Buckminster Fuller was right. The future does depend on us. The future depends on each one of us and on what we decide to do today and what we dedicate ourselves to doing tomorrow and the day after that. So let's truly rededicate ourselves to healing, inspiring, and transforming the lives of all people through our prayer, through our education about the Unity teachings, and most importantly, through our love. And so it is. Amen. So, for our guided meditation today, because it's Memorial Day, I want to take us slowly through the words of an older prayer for our nation. And as we take in these words during our meditation, again, let's just keep in mind that we have the power. We have the power individually and collectively to create or continue anything that we choose. So before we begin, let us remember who we are by singing our meditation song, Holy, Holy, Holy. We'll start by singing, We Are Holy. We'll move to You Are Holy, and we'll end with I Am Holy.
We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy.
So if you haven't already, I invite you to lean back in your chair. Feel that seat back hold you. And know that you are always being held by the divine. And let's just listen to the words of this prayer. Take them in deeply. And again, note if there are any places in which we can be a healer, an inspirer, or a transformer to some of the things that are brought forward in this prayer. Almighty God, You have given us this good land as our heritage. Make us always remember your generosity and constantly do your will. Bless our land with honest industry, truthful education, and an honorable way of life. Save us from violence, discord, and confusion, from pride and arrogance. Make us, who came from many nations with many different languages, a united people. Defend our liberties and give those whom we have entrusted with the authority of government the spirit of wisdom, that there might be justice and peace in our land. When times are prosperous, let our hearts be thankful. And in troubled times, do not let our trust in you fail. We ask all this in your name. Amen. And so now, with the seeds planted for new ways to be dedicated, perhaps new causes and communities to be dedicated to, and knowing that we can return to our beautiful inner sanctuary at any time we choose, let us begin now to return to our outer sanctuary, moving our fingers or our feet, perhaps taking another few deep breaths. And when we're ready, opening our eyes and coming back to waking consciousness. Unity offers positive, practical, progressive spiritual teachings and tools that honor the universal truth in all religions and respects each individual's right to choose a spiritual path. And here at Unity Spiritual Center, we have an inspiring vision, an exciting mission, and compelling values by which we strive to live. So I invite you in joining with me and saying them aloud. Our vision is centered in God. We co-create a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. Our mission is we are a creative, joy-filled spiritual community dedicated to healing, inspiring, and transforming the lives of all people through prayer, education, and love. And our values are, we are spirit-led, generous with resources, inclusive, joyously creative, and guided by integrity. And in this space, feeling inspired by our vision, mission, and values, feeling enriched by what we've experienced here today and what we're about to experience in fellowship. Let's take time now to be a channel for enrichment through our generous tithes and love offerings. Practicing the principle of tithing ourselves as a spiritual community, we are pleased to tithe 10% of the offering collected today to Unity Online Radio and to the West Central region of Unity churches. So let's take time now to bless our offerings, placing them in our hands, perhaps next to our hearts, as we say our offertory prayer together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
Freedom to worship, freedom to pray, to the one and only, you choose the way. Give thanks for the blessings, forgive what you must. This is your right, in which you can trust. Every breath you breathe is yours for the taking. Every change of mind is yours for the making. Everything you do is yours for the doing. Every gift of love is yours for the giving. And freedom to worship, freedom to pray, to the one and only, you choose the way. Give thanks for the blessings, forgive what you must. This is your right, in which you can trust. Follow the path that you will create. Say what you will, believe in your faith. This is the reason we live where we live. Send up our prayers and learn to forgive. And freedom to worship, freedom to pray, to the one and only, you choose the way. Give thanks for the blessings, forgive what you must. This is your right, in which you can trust. Freedom.
Thank you. That's a Michael Hatfield original, isn't it?
Yes,
It's a beautiful song. Thank you, Michael. So let's bless our offering together. Dear God,
We give thanks for the many blessings that are in our church this very moment. We open ourselves to the infinite possibilities that are ours to choose. We are filled with a mighty faith that empowers and frees us to live our divine purpose and serve our community with excellence. And so it is.
So first of all, I want to thank everybody who is giving service today, including our ushers, Valerie Hatfield and Kathy Russell, Richard Forbes for his first time with the soundboard. Woohoo! It seemed to go pretty well. Thank you. And the whole crew who has been dedicated to putting on a wonderful Memorial Day weekend feast for you. I know that's Ron Willis, Valerie set the table. I know Rose is out there, Candy, probably Teresa Hernandez, I think I saw, she's out there now. And last but not least, to John Antoni for actually funding the meat portion of our feast. He does that every year. It's a beautiful thing. Let's give all of them a big round of applause. So just a couple announcements. I wanted to thank Brad and Gloria Feliz for the beautiful flowers that you see, and it's a sweet story, if it's okay that I tell. They're in honor of Brad's mother, who introduced them to Unity, and she did such a good job that not only are Brad and Gloria and their daughter Noelia part of our community, but Brad's brother is a Unity minister. So she had an awesome influence, and we thank you for honoring her with the beautiful flowers. As I said, we are having our barbecue today, and there's lots there, but if you feel like you want to bring something, not too late to run to Ambrosia or Walgreens and add something to the table. But everybody is welcome, and we hope you'll enjoy that. We are bringing back the welcome table, as I mentioned last week, and there is a sign-up sheet in the back to sign up if you'd just like to stand behind it after the service and welcome new people to our community. It's a pretty easy gig, and it's a lot of fun to be able to meet all the new people walking through the doors for the first time. So please do sign up for that. And then very excited to announce our third annual community art event. We are painting birdhouses again. This is a little 3-housed birdhouse, and it stands for community because we've been looking at our community all year and what our mission statement is, and so this is a little community birdhouse for you to decorate any way you want to. The reflection question is, what do I hope to bring to my community? So there's always a reflection question, and that's this year's. There's only 15, so if you want to participate in this art event, please do sign up on the sheet in the back of the sanctuary. And as you know, they are donated later to the church for a really fun silent auction fundraiser. And you are, if you get really attached, you are most welcome to bid on your own creation, but it's a lot of fun to participate in that. As I said, only 15 birdhouses available, so please do sign up if you want one. And we will bring in the kids, and then we will feast.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the presence of God in you, empowering you to do great things. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous found. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. Wherever I am, God is. And all is well.